Okay, I want to talk a little bit and give my ideas, my thoughts about why the gun control debate is so hotly debated and so deadlocked, I guess would be a good term. And my theory is there's two camps. And one is talking about how to lessen school shootings, how to bring down murder rates and crime rates and things like this. And the other side is talking about banning guns and making it harder for law-abiding citizens to get guns. And the problem there is you have two sides working on two different issues together, but not cooperating. So they're never going to come up with a good solution like that. We both need to be talking about the same thing. We both need to be working on the same issue, not two different issues. And the reason I say this, the reason I come up with this theory, is on the pro-gun side, we're talking about expanding security in schools, increasing people's awareness and ability to carry protective devices around with them, firearms or whatever. And the other side is we need to ban AR-15s. We need to ban bump stocks. We need to make it harder for people to get guns. But they're not realizing that the people who are committing these criminal acts don't go through the system to get their guns. They get them illegally, and they have no control over that. So the only people they can control are the ones who are not doing it. Secondly, on the anti-gun side, there seems to be a lot of discourse, a lot of misinformation amongst themselves. Perfect example, here I'm going to show you a video of of an AR-15 that is hard to use.
An AR-15. It's harder to aim, it's harder to use.
And now the AR-15 is easy to use.
These features I just told you about it being easy to use and all this fire.
So the same weapon system is hard to use and easy to use. Well, in truth, it's in the middle. It's easy to use once you get the training in it, and it's hard to use if you don't have the training in it, properly anyway. And one thing I do have to point out on this side, the anti-gun side, is a lot of their facts, figures, and logical things are not real. They're lies, they're misrepresentations, they're old data, cherry-picked data, and things like this. So it's not 100% truthful, 100% honest. So you're going to have problems with that. Another thing on that side is you have a lot of what I call doublethink from the 1984, the book and the movie, where you have two opposing ideas in your head and you believe whichever one you want to believe at that particular time. Case in point, here's an individual I have discussed with in the past, talking about teachers being armed. I agree arming teachers is a bad idea, but with proper training I can see how it could work. Okay, you admit it could work. There is a reason why most mass shootings happen in places where guns are not allowed. Okay, you're kind of showing that soft targets are a problem. I look at the opposite perspective. Is the White House a gun-free zone? The halls of Congress, of course. Excuse me. People entering are not allowed to have guns, but there are plenty of guns there. Why do we think it okay to protect our politicians with guns, but not our children in public schools where they should be safe? Again, you're pointing out hard targets are generally safer than softer targets. I do not, in any way, want teachers armed. So 3 occasions you talked about how soft targets are a problem. Teachers with proper training could work. I do not in any way want teachers armed. I've seen this very similar thing. I was actually discussing this with somebody, and we were talking about gun control, and I was like, why do you think guns are a problem? Well, because there's shootings all over the place. People are getting shot left and right. Okay, so then it should be reasonable that I get a gun to protect myself. Oh, no, you don't need a gun. You're safe. So we need to ban guns because there's shootings all over the place, but I don't need a gun to protect myself because I'm safe. okay. And I want to touch back on something I said before. I don't want to sound all paranoid and all that. I really don't believe this is the case per se, but it makes it easier to discuss. I believe that the overall agenda of the anti-gun community is to ban all the firearms. Now, a lot of the underlings, the lower people, don't get that, don't understand that, don't believe it. The upper people, the ones who are truly in charge and all that stuff, this is where I'm sounding like a conspiracy theorist, but I don't believe it's truly like one person or anything like that. It's just a group mindset. Nobody's really connected, but anyway. Because look at how they're doing it. Let's go after AR-15s. Let's go after bump stocks. Let's go after AK-47s. Well, these are scary things, so it should be easy to convince people to get rid of those. Even though in truth, they're very rarely used. Okay, so they get rid of them. Violence doesn't stop, mass shootings don't stop, school shootings don't stop, murder doesn't stop. Oh, well that didn't work, so let's go after this group of guns. So they ban those. And when those don't work, oh, it didn't work. Let's go after this group. Until they get what they truly want, which is complete and total annihilation of private ownership, firearm ownership in the United States. To what agenda? I don't know. Maybe there truly is some sort of shadow group behind it all. I don't know. I just think it's a bunch of people who think they know better than everybody else in the world, and their ideas are perfect and nobody else is good, but that's my opinion.